Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be going over the updates that are going to be coming to the game with regards to War Season 3, the wave system rewards, and the announcement of the next War of Champions. A lot of interesting information to come, quite massive, honestly game-changing things to come, especially when it comes to regions and waves. I see a lot of questions regards to this, but we're going to break it all down and just see what is going to be changing over the next couple of weeks. So we'll read through it. It says War of Champions, War Season 3, Regions, Waves and Rewards. Hello survivors, we have seen many questions about what War Season 3 will bring, how War of Champions will work, and what is in store next when it comes to the pinnacle of competition in Road to Survival. So we wanted to share all the important details. War Season 3 will start on the 12th of November 2021 at 4 PM Pacific time, and it will end on the 13th of February 2022 at 4 PM Pacific time. There will be a grey market attached to this as well, and the grey market will start at the same time as the War Season 3 will, but it will end 2 days earlier than the War Season will. Kind of interesting, not sure why that would be, but maybe something will enlighten us on why the grey market would end earlier than the event itself. War Season 3 will last roughly 3 months and conclude with War of Champions for all qualified factions. Factions who did not qualify will have a standard CRW that weekend with no season implications for Season 3 token rewards. Faction war points earned in cross-region wars will contribute towards your faction's ability to qualify for War of Champions at the end of the season. Blitz wars will not contribute towards War of Champions qualification. We have revamped and updated the war rewards going forward in rank rewards, solo milestones and faction mission events. We'll look at that below. Season tokens can be earned from rank rewards and war faction missions during both CRW and Blitz wars and used in the War Season 3 grey market. So no information with regards to the grey market end date there, but it is very obvious that CRWs are going to count towards War of Champions qualification, and CRWs and Blitz are going to count towards the War Season 3 depots if you want to gain the tokens to get the rewards that are going to be either exclusive to this season or returning rewards, because we are going to see some characters return from previous War Seasons back into the War Depot. Now there is going to be an exclusive fighter when it comes to War Season 3, and it is going to be Gold Mythic Romanov. I have done a preview of this character. If you want to check it out, you should see a link into the top right hand corner, and I break down all of his abilities and just show you how they all work, just in case you were wondering how they work. It says Gold Mythic Romanov will debut in War Season 3. Players will be able to war for Season 3 war tokens to spend in the War Season 3 grey market, and it's very important to know that the tokens that you get during War Season 3 can only be spent during the War Season 3 depot. They don't carry over to a future depot, for instance War Season 4. This is how it's worked with War Season 1 and War Season 2, so be very, very aware of that. Along with Romanov, previous War exclusive fighters will also be included, along with Gold Mythic tokens and more. And here is a breakdown of the War Season 3 grey market. Pretty basic, not too over the top. We've got Gold Mythic Romanov as the exclusive reward being 55,000 per character, and you can get up to 5 because Limit Break 3 will come out during this War Season, so they're going to allow people to get up to 5. The next character is Gold Mythic Kapoor, a return character from War Season 2, and he's going to be 35,000, the same sort of pricing that we had last season. And then Gold Mythic Erica is another returning character who is the reward for, I think, War Season 1. And it does look like this is how they're going to release his characters. I did wonder whether Erica would go into like gold medals or a wheel, but it looks like she's just going to come back into the War Depot as well. You can get up to 5 of all of these characters, so if you missed out or if you prioritize something different in the previous season and then you say suddenly want one of these characters of the previous characters like Erica or Kapoor, you can focus on those. For instance, right now, Kapoor has been really good for me for challenge run, so you might want to pick him up if the alert challenge run is an issue for you. Now there are other rewards as well, and you can get 1,000 gold mythic tokens for 2,500 tokens, so that would be a grand total of 25,000 required to get one gold mythic token pull, so it would just be a bit cheaper than getting Erica or Kapoor. So if you did want to just go for pure numbers of gold mythics, that would be the best way to go. You can claim this up to 60 times, which would be a grand total of 6 pulls on the gold mythic token wheel if you claimed all of these rewards. Now lastly, you can get 500 elite item tokens, and I just see this as being, if you've got some leftovers, I think people who are in higher up factions will basically decide which characters they want to go for, gold mythic tokens, and then extra leftovers on the side. Now Romanov being the exclusive character for this season, he will be the most expensive, just how we had Kapoor the most expensive last season, Erica the most expensive the season before. Generally the way I approach these grey markets, and it's completely up to you, is I do pick up the exclusive character at grade 5 minimum, just because we do not know what's coming next season, and if it is a real game-changing character, and it could be a game-changing character for your particular roster, you might want to go all in on it. So if you miss out on Romanov this season, you're not going to have a chance potentially to picking up next season. That's pretty much what I did with Kapoor and what I did with Erica, and it's worked out so far so good. Now there's a big breakdown of the War Season 3 schedule, and the dates and times, it says are tentative, so can actually change. I'm not going to go over this too much, but it does look like there is potentially going to be a war on New Year's Eve, which hopefully gets looked at a little bit, but that is not going to be a good for a lot of people, but I guess we'll see. And that's going to be a qualification CRW as well for Warrior Champions, and you can see that Warrior Champions is going to be penciled in for the 11th of February 2022. Now there are some details on the Warrior Champions, and it has been expanded. It says the top 100 factions who accumulate the most faction war points during the 6 qualifying cross-region wars of Season 3 will head to War of Champions to compete on the weekend of February the 11th, 2022. Qualifying factions will transfer to the exclusive War of Champions region, where the grand finale all-out war event will take place to determine the champion. After each cross-region war, we'll share the total accumulated season scores of the top 100 factions to reveal the qualification ranks to players. War of Champions rank, milestones and mission rewards will be shared as we get closer to War of Champions. War of Champions qualifications prizes include exclusive War Veteran art on an exclusive copy of Gold Romanov, and that is the copy that I did actually preview. I did show both copies on my preview video, so you can check that out in that video like I linked before. 5 Paragon mods, random mods from a set of your choice. Now the War of Champions top rank rewards, the top 3 ranked factions in the final War of Champions all-out war will win exclusive War of Champions 3 avatars. First place will get a first place for War Season 3 War of Champions avatar. Second place will get second place avatar. Third place will get third place avatar. War of Champions first place weapon will be rewarded. The winner of War of Champions will also get a weapon awarded to them, and it will be the War of Champions winner will receive an exclusive 5-star War of Champions weapon shortly after War of Champions. Not only will this weapon have unique art, but the winning faction will have that special 5-star weapon named after the faction and rewarded to all its members. So for instance, if your faction is called the Zombie Killers, it could be called the Zombie Killer Dagger or something like that. That could be kind of cool. To further celebrate the faction's achievement as best in the game, all players in the game will have the opportunity to purchase this War of Champions weapon for a limited time. The Walking Dead team will provide the art and stats of this exclusive weapon and will attach the winning faction's name. Winning faction will not influence weapon design. For the weapon to be named after the winning faction, the faction's name must adhere to our terms of service. Scopely reserves the right to reject a faction's weapon naming reward if that faction name violates terms of service. Now, it's kind of strange though. This bit is a little bit strange. If the faction's name violates terms of service, why are they allowed to have their faction name as that in the first place? Riddle me this, guys. Riddle me this. But it makes sense, obviously. They don't want a weapon that's called, something that is obviously very questionable, let's just say. Lastly, it goes on to say, in addition to everything listed above, we're excited to announce the all-new War of Champions Hall of Fame. A new tab inside the museum will celebrate and immortalize each War of Champions winner each season moving forward in-game. This is just an early sneak peek of what we have in store for our War of Champions winner rewards. More updates will follow as War Season 3 progresses. I hope that they do go back on the previous War of Champions and just list maybe the top 10 there or something like that, just to show who, which factions won the previous War of Champions. That would actually be pretty cool. Now next up is the really massive information from this piece of news, and it's going to be about region waves and how it's going to change for the long term, permanently for the game going forward. With these big changes to War of Seasons, and now with the War of Champions happening after each season, we wanted to also make some big changes to the way region transfers work to make War of Champions more accessible to all players. We are happy to announce that the wave system of region movement is being retired on November the 2nd. Starting with War Season 3 and moving forward, players and factions will be much less restricted on which region they would be able to call home. Almost all regions will be open for players to move to, with the exception of a few newer regions to promote a better experience for those players, and that would most likely be newer players to the game, which makes a lot of sense. We are hoping this change will foster easier recruitment and social interactions in all our communities and regions. This does mean that if you are in a Wave 1A region, which was the previous qualification region for World Champions, it is no longer a Wave 1A region, it's just an every region. Every region is going to fight against every region in CRW, and it will be the top 100 factions from every single region in the game will have the chance to go to War of Champions regardless of what region you're in. It's about the top 100 factions now, not the top factions in a certain group of regions. This also means that War of Champions will be made accessible to the vast majority of players, factions and regions. War of Champions will no longer be exclusive to specific regions, with the exception of Bradley. Cross-region war matchups will not be grouped by wave and will change from war to war to bring a diverse set of opponents and matchups throughout this war season. You can find out more details on this in the war matchup sections below. Lastly, it says, finally, removing the wave system and in providing a War of Champions competition also means the qualification playing field must be identical for everybody. With that in mind, the region you are in will no longer dictate the rewards and war experience you receive. This means all rank rewards, milestones, rewards, and the war configurations will be identical for all regions, including if it's an 8v8 or 6v6 war event, the exception being the Bradley region, who will have all-out wars, and this is most likely because Bradley is the newest region. Information on region transfers going forward. With the end of the wave system, we will be unlocking free movement for the majority of players, and will be resetting transfer cooldowns and sending players a free transfer key, which you should have already received by November the 2nd. I did receive mine. Region transfers will only be restricted by a 60-day transfer cooldown during a war season. 195 regions will now be free to move between one another. Bradley, the region where new players start their road to survival, will be open for outbound transfers only. We wanted to ensure their war experience involved matching with other players of similar age and strength within the Bradley region. For this reason, players cannot transfer to Bradley. Makes a lot of sense. To ensure players have time to recruit and transfer, there'll be no faction events running between November the 1st, 2021 and November the 12th, 2021. That's kind of obvious if you've noticed that there's nothing faction popping up. Everything's solo so far. This would mean that your weekend faction level ups will now probably be solo level ups instead. Now, there are going to be some region mergers, which has happened in the past. The Walking Dead team has identified 35 low activity regions that will begin to be phased out over time. These regions currently face a shortfall of players, which can lead to factions being unable to compete and a very quiet global chat. We'll be giving these players the opportunity to join newly opened regions that will provide a more active player base for better faction recruitment and social interaction. The list of the regions will be listed below, which I'll go over. Players in these regions will receive this free gift for moving to one of the newly opened regions. They'll receive 20 Benedicts, 250,000 military supplies, 8 Lilith or Ulysses choice boxes, and 5 war energy refills. It goes on to say players in these regions can begin to join one of these newly opened regions on November the 2nd and can claim this reward as a free offer in the shop upon arrival in the new regions. The 35 phased out regions will also no longer run live events after November the 11th. So if you are in one of these regions, you're no longer even going to be able to get any events. And I know that some people probably just been coming top 10 in level ups because there's not very many active players in those regions, but that's going to be a thing of the past. And it says it also means players in these regions will not be able to participate in new events until they transfer to the new regions. Players from our 195 legacy regions will not be able to transfer to the 3 newly opened regions or the regions being phased out. Now, there was an update about this where the 35 phased out regions will be able to transfer to one of the 3 newly opened regions and collect rewards, and will also be able to move to one of the other 195 legacy regions as well if they so wish, but there will be no rewards for transferring. The newly opened regions will not be available for inbound transfer from any of the other regions, but due to the miscommunication, we'll be opening up the regions to depart and also send a transfer key to players in those regions inbox so they can transfer if they want to before this update. And here is more information on that. You can pause if you want to read this information, but basically it outlines that you will get a choice instead of going to those 3 new regions to going to any region if you so wish. But do realize that if you're a much newer account in the last 6 to 12 months, it'll be much harder for you to go into one of the 195 regions than it would be into these newer 3 regions. It's completely up to you what you do. It's your choice, but at least now you have the option, which I think is a good thing. Now, there is information on the future of war matchups, and it says, with all this news comes concern about how we will be grouping regions to compete against one another. We understand that this is very important when it comes to a War of Champions competition, so we wanted to be clear. Starting with War Season 3, there will be a total of 198 regions that will be grouped together across 13 different groupings for each CRW and Blitz War, and we will look at the full list of these below. The exceptions are the 35 phased out regions, which is kind of obvious, and also Bradley, which will be getting all out wars during this. It does say that, however, that Bradley is open for players to leave at any time if they wish to join the chase for War of Champions crown, but Bradley is brand new players, so unless you're like a mega whale, you're going to have a big issue. It goes on to say each war group will have no more than 16 regions within it. Our goal is to ensure every group has a similar number of active factions competing with each other in each CRW, so regions in certain groups are not at too much of a disadvantage or advantage when it comes to competing for rewards. The regions in a group will be switched after every CRW in order to provide a number of diverse opponents throughout the war season. And it says, in order to promote competitive fairness throughout the war season, we will no longer communicate the exact region matchups of CRWs ahead of each CRW. Players will find out the regions they have matched when war begins. And I guess this is because there was a time when people would purposefully switch regions to get easier matchups for War of Champions qualification, and this should eliminate that, hopefully. Now, there is a quick breakdown on the war format. It says cross-region wars will always have 8 versus 8 maps and run for 48 hours. Blitz wars will always be 24 hours and may be 6v6 or 8 versus 8. War energy will remain at 8 max. War energy refills will reward 8 energy. First repair will always be 15 seconds. For 8 versus 8, 4 mercenaries will all become available after 5 minutes. For 6v6, 3 mercenaries will all become available after 5 minutes. War strongholds will vary on a war-to-war basis and will become communicated closer to each war event. Now, here's the list of the regions that will be being phased out. If you are in one of these regions, you will be no longer receiving any rewards after the 11th of November. So you will need to leave these regions and go to one of the 3 freshly created regions, which I think will be listed below. And it would be one of Claiborne, Roan, or Cumberland. And those will be the regions that you'll be required to join if you want to actually get rewards. Or you can go to one of the main regions, the regions that already existed, but you could run into issues when it comes to competition there, so be careful. There is also a breakdown of the war rewards, and you can see you get season tokens based on your position. You're also going to be getting medal boxes. It does just say medal choice boxes, because I'm guessing in the future we could potentially see the next tier of gear medals being added to this. With the release of Limit Break 3, we're probably going to be having gold medals come into the game. I'm going to just scroll down, and you can see the scaling. It goes all the way down to 1,000. And with Blitz, you're going to be able to get half the amount of rewards for first place, from 30,000 in a CRW down to 15,000. Makes a lot of sense. That's basically how it's worked in the past. Going to keep scrolling down. There are going to be milestone rewards, and as you can see, there are no rewards that go towards the grey market in here, which is obviously great news, because a lot of people did complain about the fact that you had to hit certain milestones to get certain rewards, but they have been kept in somewhere else. We're going to scroll down. You can see you're going to get gold mythic tokens, refills. You're also going to get gear. You're probably going to get like Lilith and stuff, and the goodies. It does scale all the way up to 400k though, as we saw before. And this means that people who get 400k are just going to get more medals and stuff to tier up the characters they already have, which makes a lot of sense. And the information for the Blitz milestone rewards is pretty much the same, just halved when it comes to what is required. It is dependent on the top milestone. Again, it does go up to 200k rather than 400k. So again, fairly balanced, but I think 200k in a one-day war is pretty nuts. And then we have the faction mission events. As you can see, this is where we are going to receive more of the War Season 3 tokens. And it's winning battles with your faction, which is obviously was very well received from the Merciless War was the faction missions. And you're also going to get this and military supplies and so on and so forth. I'm going to just scroll down. Looks like for a CRW, it's going to be up to 1,000, 2,000, 2,500. And that looks like it could give you over 20,000 of the War Season tokens just from completing this with your faction. So this is really, really important to do. So if you're in an active faction, even if you don't place very high, you'll still get quite a lot of rewards to pick up characters, which is obviously great news. And then we're going to see the same thing again, this time for Blitz, but it'll probably be half the amount of attacks. It's going to be 1,250 war battles as a faction, and you are going to be receiving some of those War Season 3 tokens for rewards. There is also some information when it comes to Bradley's AOW rewards, and I'll just scroll through this. It looks like a normal CRW for the AOWs, and then also the AOW milestones, and then probably the AOW Blitz rank rewards, and then probably the AOW milestone rewards for the Blitzes. And lastly, these are the War Season 3 War Champions regions. I'm just going to scroll through this if you want to just slow it down, the speed, if you want to see your region, just to make sure your region is here. There's lots of regions. I'm not reading these out. 198, I think it said. It's like, okay, buddy. I think a lot of these are recognizable. Seen these regions quite a lot. Warred against quite a few. But some of these are new to me because I've been in Wave 1A for so long. We're going to be matching up against regions that I've never seen before, pretty much. I'm going to be matching up against regions that I've never seen before, which is actually pretty interesting. Then there's information with regards to the choice boxes. Again, just confirmation of what's in each of these choice boxes. And that is the end of the news. So, tons of information in here. An abolishment to the wave system, I think, isn't a terrible idea. It is something that a lot of people have been requesting. And it's opening up basically the qualification for World Champions to everybody, which makes sense because I hear a lot of people saying they're like the best faction, but they're just not in 1A. But if you're the best faction when it comes to warring, you should be in 1A to qualify. But, well, now I guess we'll see. Are you interested in World Champions for War Season 3? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think about the changes that are going to be coming to the game? Do you think this is good? Do you think this is bad? Thoughts in the comments down below, guys. That is the end of my video. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.